Snow whipped through Manhattan's narrow alleys that night, rattling rusted fire escapes and stinging against shuttered windows. Inside Westfield Prime, the dinner rush had ended. The dining room, once a chorus of clinking glasses and murmured conversation, now sat in a hushed stillness, the air still heavy with rosemary, garlic, and seared steak. In the back kitchen, under the hum of flickering fluorescent lights, a man in a stained apron scrubbed dishes. His shoulders ached, steam fogging the corners of his glasses. To anyone passing by, he was just another busboy trying to make rent. In truth, he was Noah Westfield, CEO of the restaurant empire whose name gleamed in gold on the front door. He wasn't there for show. He had slipped into the lowest rung of his own company to see his world through weary hands, not polished reports. That's when he noticed her. Laura, small-framed, blonde hair loosely tied, eyes shadowed by sleepless nights. She moved quickly, but not carelessly, gathering untouched bread and vegetables from cleared plates. She wrapped them in napkins, slid them into a worn tote bag, and glanced toward the door. Her hands trembled, not with guilt, but with urgency. Then came the whisper that stopped him cold. "They'll still be warm for the kids if I hurry." Noah froze, the words tearing open a memory he'd tried to bury. A night years ago on the Brooklyn Bridge, when a stranger handed him a warm loaf of bread and whispered the same thing. Tomorrow is still a gift. It was the night he decided not to end his life. A few nights later, under pounding rain, he followed her. She didn't head home. Instead, she turned down a narrow alley and knelt beneath a crumbling awning where two children huddled together, wrapped in threadbare blankets. She unpacked the bread and soup, feeding them first, eating nothing herself. When one child shivered violently, she took off her own coat and wrapped it around him. No cameras, no audience, just quiet grace. Shame burned through Noah. She wasn't stealing, she was saving. From that night on, extra food began appearing in the staff fridge, sometimes still warm. Laura never asked where it came from. She only whispered thank you into the air, to no one in particular. One evening, after closing, Noah sat beside her during cleanup. "Why do you do it?" he asked. Her voice softened. "Because someone once saved me with nothing but bread." The word struck him like a match in the dark. He didn't press her, but he knew. The girl on the bridge who had saved his life wasn't the only one who saved lives in silence. Laura was one of them, and maybe, just maybe, she was about to save his too. Weeks passed. Their paths crossed more often, not by accident. He lingered near the back door after long shifts. She joined him, at first in silence, then with small stories about regular customers, waitresses who left origami cranes as tips, the odd wisdom of children. Then one rainy night, she sat beside him and murmured, "Tomorrow is still a gift.
Even the worst day ends."
Noah's chest tightened. Those were the exact words a stranger had spoken to him years ago on the Brooklyn Bridge, words that had pulled him back from the edge. Slowly, painfully, it sank in. Laura wasn't just kind. Laura was that stranger. The truth came out in the most careless way. One afternoon in the break room, Laura overheard coworkers joking about the undercover CEO who had been scrubbing dishes beside them. She froze. Later, she found him in the kitchen. "You're Noah Westfield," she said flatly. He nodded. And I am. "I told you my truth while you wore a mask," she said, her voice trembling. "You knew my past, my pain, but I never knew yours. I thought you saw me. Now I wonder if any of it was real." Before he could explain, she stepped back. "I need space. I don't know who I was talking to anymore." She walked out into the cold night. Noah didn't follow. For the first time since meeting her, he had no words, only the crushing truth that the woman who once saved him now felt betrayed by the man he'd been hiding. The kitchen felt colder after she left, silence pressing in like frost. Hours later, rain streaked the pediatric wing's windows at St. Mark's Hospital, turning the city into a blurred watercolor. In room 204, a boy lay under thin sheets, breath shallow beneath an oxygen mask. Laura sat beside him, soaked from the storm, eyes red and raw. Hours earlier, she had carried him through the rain after he collapsed, only to hear the doctor say, "No proof of guardianship, no treatment." "I am his adult," she pleaded. The law didn't care. Love wasn't enough. Then a voice from the doorway. "I'll sign." Noah stood there, dripping wet. No boardroom polish, no distance, just quiet intent. Within minutes, papers were signed, treatment begun, and the boy's breathing steadied. Laura slumped into a chair. Noah sat beside her, taking her hand, not to fix, but to stay. "You once gave me bread," he whispered. "I want to give you every sunrise I have left." Weeks later, the boy recovered. One morning, Laura found an envelope under her door, a full scholarship to study social work, recommended by Noah. "I never asked for this," she told him. "I know," he said. "That's why you deserve it." Months passed. In his Midtown office, he handed her another letter, this time announcing a Westfield Foundation program for underfunded shelters, bearing her name. "I've seen what you do with scraps," he said. "I can't imagine what you'll do with support." A year later, the ballroom of the Westfield Foundation glowed with candlelight, walls lined with photos of smiling children, all touched by Laura's tomorrow. What began with a stolen loaf of bread had become proof that the smallest kindness can rewrite entire lives. Backstage, Laura's palms were damp, her speech crumpled at the edges. Noah stood nearby, silent, smiling as if to say, "You've already done the hard part." When her name was called, she stepped into the golden light. For a moment, she looked almost unreal, until the warmth in her eyes reminded everyone she was no stranger to rainstorms. "I used to bring bread," she began, voice steady, "because I thought that was all I had to give. Today, I bring hope." The audience rose in silent respect. Noah walked toward her, holding the small hands of two children, the same ones she had once fed in the rain, now healthy and bright-eyed. He reached into his coat, pulling out a small black velvet box. Inside was a silver necklace, engraved, "Tomorrow is still a gift." "You saved me once," he said softly. "Let me spend the rest of my life deserving it." Laura reached into her pocket and unwrapped a tiny bundle of yellowed tissue. Inside was a piece of bread, hardened with time. "I kept it," she whispered, "in case I ever saw you again." Noah smiled through tears. No kneeling, no spectacle. Just two people who once had only scraps, now holding something whole. She pressed her forehead to his, necklace between them. Her nod was her yes, not to perfection, but to presence, to every tomorrow they once feared might never come. Some stories don't end with grand gestures. They end with the courage to show up and begin again.